You spend like 6 to 10 years of your life studying, you come back and then you become an accountant or engineer. Some imams have their full-time job, but they only have like 5-10 hours a week to spend in the dawah space. We have to create another solution. And I realize like imams are not really taken care of that well. They're really underpaid. They're just having to drive like Uber on the side. Every imam I've spoken to is kind of either struggling or looking for a way out. If they are the life of the community, why not invest in them?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of the Muslimi Experience. I'm your host, Brother Boonaa Mohammed. MashaAllah, we're here with an amazing guest. You know, we always get amazing guests. We got to talk to people from all walks of life. And alhamdulillah, we're here joined with our dear Sheikh Imam Zaniar, who's in studio. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. How's it going?
How are you doing, Akhi?
Good, thanks for having me.
Alhamdulillah, great to have you here with us. Now, mashallah, you have quite an extensive background and resume. You have a lot of interest, things that we'll get into. But I know you from your studies as a student of knowledge, mashallah. You've went overseas and studied Islam in Medina. But talk to me about your upbringing, about your kind of growing up. Were you always a person who was into deen? Were you always a person that wanted to go study? How did that journey come about?
It's pretty funny. So I was raised in a religious household, but learned almost no deen from my parents. Mostly raised by my mom, but it's very interesting. I think I remember like the year 1999. I was on like the computer with the big fat screen.
Yeah.
And I was like Surah, Nas, like just try to memorize it. So in a Muslim household, but I think just because you're in a Muslim household doesn't mean you're going to be taught it. So I remember just teaching myself a lot of the basics. And then for me, the big turning point was actually in high school. So I used to play basketball all the time, I took that too serious, 5 a.m., go to the YMCA, do the drills and all that. So, yeah, there's a point where you don't even wake up for Fajr, but you're waking up for those things. And then I hurt my ankle really bad, and I had one of those big boots on, and I was out of commission. So then I started spending a lot of time in the Masjid, probably around 2011. I had nothing else to do. And it's very funny. My mom ordered chicken one day from this guy. You know, the Masjid, they give out like calendars. Yeah. It's his name is Abdul Hafiz, and he did a chicken delivery. He got it from like, I don't know, Sergeant Farms in Toronto and brought it. But he came to my house one day to deliver like 100 pounds of chicken, and he's like, "You want to come to the Masjid?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." So he brought me in. I would go before that, but my heart wasn't there. But eventually I started going more and more, and there was no imam at the time. So it's just me and like the old guys. It's just fine, and you learn a lot of wisdom. And then we had an imam for about 6 months. So I'm in high school at the time, and like I did Quran classes when I was younger, but I just forgot it all. So then I joined Quran class. Like I'm like this 6'3" guy with like these little
8-year-olds and 10-year-olds running around.
Little 8-year-olds. And there's actually a picture of me online. There's like a bunch of little kids. And then there's me with my certificate. Just learning.
First of all, shout out to those guys, because I see them sometimes in the masjid. I saw even recently, I think he must have been a revert or something like that in a halaqah with a bunch of little kids. Shout out to those guys, because that's not easy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel a little bit out of place.
You have to kill your ego.
You 100% have to, because the 8-year-old knows more Quran than you as well.
I'm like, how is he better than me?
Yeah, right? But mashallah, so you had a chance to kind of go back and study, Quran.
Like, I'm going to start fresh. And then we had a really good imam for about 6 months, and he made it easy to learn how to read. And then they fired him. So there was 2 years of no imam, 6 months with the imam, and then 2 more years no imam. So, again, just every day after school, coming, just reading by myself, hanging out with the old guys. Then I'd go home. And then eventually we had Imam Sheikh Hussam. So he became Imam maybe 2013.
This was in Hamilton.
In Hamilton.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, the creator of the world.
Yes. Dunya.
Yes. Dunya, just like Egypt.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I actually saw someone young, cool, but very knowledgeable. Yes. Normally it's like, a big belly, older guy, very strict. But yeah, he was just very nice, and he just wanted to bring everyone in. So if he would go to like a lecture, he would say, come. He would fill his car with like whoever is there, come. And then eventually, I'll put this on blast. Like he's better now, but a dangerous driver.
Oh, yes.
So I'm like,
I've heard,
yeah,
actually.
I'm fearing for my life, and I'm like, listen, I need practice for my G2 or my G, and then you need to focus. So he would be in the passenger, I would drive, and then I would just go to every lecture. So I did this for a couple of years. Every lecture he went to, every event. So I was just like his right hand man, and I finally, like I felt like I found my place. And this was me being out of school. So I left high school, went to like a college university program for a semester. I didn't like it, for computer and electrical engineering. I'm like, this is not me. So I left after a semester. Then I was 3 years out of school. So this is that time. So you feel like, you're a loser, you're behind, all your friends have jobs or are in university. So this is kind of like where I'm kind of finding my passion. And then eventually Sheikh Hussam and I, we decided to go for Umrah, his first, my first. And then we went to the city of Mecca and Medina. I'm like, you know what? I got to come back here. So I made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we came back, I applied. I even made like this cheesy video. I still have it on my YouTube.
You made a video, an application video?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, I don't think they do, but I found like this guy who could send it to this guy. Yeah. Yeah.
You had the black market of applications.
And I watched it back. I couldn't even say the letter Ain. I was saying Umrah. Yeah. So I was, just kind of starting out. But then I applied, and then, 3 years later, the advice is apply, pretend you're never going to get in. 3 years later, I went to college. I finished a business program. And the month I finished the business program was the month I got accepted to Medina. And I said, we're off. So, yeah, alhamdulillah. And then Medina was obviously another crazy experience.
Well, I mean, so you finished, did you graduate from the the business program?
Yes.
And then you went?
Yeah, and then I went.
Okay.
It was the same month. I didn't even go to my graduation.
Wow.
And I went straight off.
MashaAllah. What was the family's reaction? Did they want you to study? Were they fearful? What was...
It was difficult because my mom, like, she's very independent, but I was living with her and wanted to help her out. And she was feeling hesitant. And, like, she was like, no, don't go. And I'm like, and I was asking Imams, I'm like, in this situation, is it bir al-walidain? Do you listen to your parents? Do you go seek knowledge? But eventually, spoke to some family, convinced her. But yeah, it was something that I did not regret going.
Allahu Akbar. Your family's background is from where?
Kurdish.
Kurdish, mashallah.
Yeah.
So Arabic wasn't your native tongue?
No, a lot of the older Kurdish people speak it, but my mom didn't. Right. So I took probably 8 different Arabic programs before Medina. I learned some grammar here and there, but when I went there, you sit in a classroom. There's like a Chinese guy, a Cuban guy, Russian. No one knows Arabic. And the teacher just comes in.
أهلا وسهلا.
اليوم سنتحدث عن... What's going on here? But yeah, 2-3 months later, we're all speaking, and we're just in that environment. It's a lot easier. Yeah,
immersion, obviously. Once you have no choice, essentially.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is you learn 20% in the classroom. The other 80%, I remember the first word, I had a little notebook. I would bring it out, flip it, and be like, this guy, I went to a restaurant, he said, Mahalli or Safari. And I'm, Mahalli or Safari, as I wrote it down. But I experienced it, so I'll never forget it.
Right.
But I remember being like, I went to a madrasa in, I won't name the place in Toronto, but yeah, horrible place. But yeah, I would memorize like 300-400 words a day. And I realized like now I know like 2,000 words. I don't know how to speak any Arabic. So immersion was key. So there's a lot of these apps and stuff, but until you're there or actually speaking, I realize now you don't have to go to a Muslim country. You just have to actually practice. But without actually speaking, I don't think it's, that easy.
Right. So you did spend, was it a year or 2 in the Arabic program?
There's 2 years in the Arabic program. And then, so University of Madinah, it's a full campus. It's like U of T.
Right.
So there's probably 15,000 students. There's probably like 60 buildings, like full buildings. Just the teachers area, there's probably 15 buildings of where they live. So it's a full campus. 2 years is the Arabic. 4 years is like a bachelor's that you can choose. But then that has nothing to do with the haram. So when you go to the haram, you can also study as well. So not the first day, but the second day after I landed, I joined a Quran halaqah there.
Hmm.
And subhanAllah, you see scholars you never expect. So in my Quran halaqah, they said, you see that sheikh over there, Sheikh Muhsin al-Abad. He's like one of the top scholars of the whole world. And he's like, I just see him every day.
SubhanAllah.
So you can study in Masjid Nabawi as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Quran halaqat and other durus. Then there's also the College of Masjid Nabawi.
Mm.
So even if you're not enrolled in University of Medina, you can enroll in those programs there. So I also enrolled in like chaplaincy courses, other stuff like that.
Mm. Did you ever get a chance to sit in the halaqah of Dr. Tahir White while he was there?
Yeah, I attended some lectures of his, and yeah, he was a very nice guy. The first guy to actually do an English lecture.
Yeah, which was quite amazing
Yeah.
because, teaching English in the haram,
Mm.
I always found that quite fascinating, subhanAllah. So talk to me about that early period of being in Medina. I mean, you went for Umrah once, but now you've come back as a student.
Yeah.
Arabic was not, perfect. What did you notice about the environment, about the people that you're around?
So it's harder for Western students. It's very funny. So they give you a mukafa, which is like at that time 270 reals. I think around 270 reals or something like that, or dollars into reals, which is like 750 reals. So they give you a monthly stipend, but the Western students are struggling. Like they're calling their like family, just please send me $100. And the African students, like there's one guy, he just bought enough eggs for the month, probably like 10 dozen, and then just a couple things, a couple loaves of bread, and they would just send it back. Because if you think about it, some countries, their whole GDP of like what they make in the year is like $1 a day. So if you can make, that's equivalent, I calculated one time, that's like them sending back like 10 grand a month.
Wow.
Because they would just spend very little.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a vacation. Like you're not gonna go and there's someone who's gonna, just like when you go to university here. If you fail, you fail. But it's different than university here because like from the time you wake up from Fajr all the way to Isha, you're seeking knowledge the whole time. There's only maybe some time between Dhuhr and Asr where you're maybe, gonna take a nap. But university here, you can spend an hour a day, not doing much. But there it's kind of like you have to immerse yourself. There's no one pushing you to memorize Quran. Like the requirement is not that much. I think by the time you finish, you have to know a 10 ajza. So there's no one pushing you to memorize or to do these extra programs. And then you feel alone, and then we're like, oh, my mom's been doing laundry my whole life. Now I got to figure this out.
You got to learn how to do laundry too.
So I
you
shared
become
it.
A man.
Yeah, there was my roommate Akmal. I shared a washing machine with him and like 10 other Filipinos. So, and then we just hang it outside, and I had a little rice cooker, and I would, cook the stuff in there. But there's other things people don't expect, like, Medina was called Yathrib before, the place of sickness. So Western students, if 100 go, maybe 15 finish.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
And maybe like 10-20% of them just get really sick. And I used to get sick a lot.
Really?
Yeah, twice. I was already super skinny then. I remember being bedridden, like I was probably 165 pounds. I lost like 10 pounds.
SubhanAllah.
I was like so depleted, and you're there by yourself. There's no one to take care of you. So you just get sick a lot because we're not used to the bacteria there and food standards.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff there, and you see people from all over the world. Like one guy I talked to, he's like, in my whole country, I'm the only Muslim there. And one guy, his name was Jaime. The requirement's 25 years, but he was the only guy from Cuba. So he was
like, whatever. Yeah. He's a 40-year-old man.
He was like 47.
Really?
And you're only allowed to redo the Arabic Institute so many times.
Yeah.
This guy was,
he was milking it
over and over. There's more leniency.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like that difficult side. Then, you go to the Haram every day. You're like, from my apartment, I could see Masjid Nabawi.
Wow. And
I would take like a little cab there, 2-3 reals. You just spend time there, and you're just like, wow, is this my life?
Yeah, it's spoiled.
Yeah, and then you go for Umrah. Like here, it's 3,500, 4,000.
Uh,
The cheapest Umrah I did was like $10.
oh, in Saudi.
Yeah.
You just got on the back of
Yeah.
somebody's car and
No, there's like a bus, there's like a student discount, and I think it's like 20 riyals.
wow.
And then you go there, you share. My hotel room shared amongst some guys was $7 a night because I shared it with like 3 or 4 others.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that other beautiful side that you get to experience this so many times, and you know, this is your life.
How many times do you make Umrah?
I don't know, it's over a dozen.
Wallah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
But some students would go every week, but I didn't want to because you lose
You
that
lose
spark.
that special, yeah.
Some scholars in Medina, they actually wouldn't. The teachers in the Haram, they said we don't want to live in Medina because you lose that. You know, there's a spark, but it's just too easy.
Yes.
Like I remember being in a taxi. There was a taxi driver. He's like, I never been to the Haram in Mecca. He just takes people there. He's like,
Astaghfirullah.
I've never been. And I had like one of the teachers in the Arabic Institute. He's like, I've been twice in my life. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you can get there in a couple hours. So when you're really close, you don't appreciate it compared to actually having to travel.
It's like here. I never even been to the CN Tower.
Yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah. So okay, mashallah. So you're there now, year 1, year 2. You're kind of figuring it out. You're learning the language. It must have been a head trip to also see so much diversity, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that is known about. Even I think the University of Medina is the most
I
diverse
think so, yeah.
post-secondary education institute in the world.
Yeah, with also the lowest acceptancy rate. Like Harvard, I think is like 4% or something.
Right.
Medina, I think is like 0.0
Yeah,
something.
because thousands of people apply.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. So I mean, even the fact you got accepted was quite, mashallah, tabarakallah, like not the norm, right? But you mentioned something funny. You said, Western students struggle. I've also heard this. I've heard that a lot of the Westerners, maybe it's because of our lifestyle, maybe it's because a lot of us come from kind of like spoiled backgrounds.
It's a downgrade.
Yes.
Especially if you're from a middle class lifestyle, which I'm not from, but we're like low income for majority of our lives. But if you come from a middle class lifestyle, you are going multiple notches down.
Wow.
So now it's like you're in a room and there's a curtain between you and some other student.
SubhanAllah.
And they started segregating according to nationality, which was a really good thing. Because I remember there was like a Russian guy on one side and then there was like a Bengali on the other. One guy, AC max. The other guy, he's cooking like half a goat in his room.
Oh my gosh.
So there's too many cultural differences. And I was like, in Medina, I've seen something new that I've never seen in my life before. Like, we think everyone's the same. I remember like there's in the university, like we love Somalis. Somalis are hilarious. Somalis here are not like Somalis there.
Really?
It's just a different, like you go back home, they know you're not from there.
Right.
They can just see you and they can tell. One of the Somali guys, I go in the restaurant and he's eating his, I think, baris, and he grabs it like this, and he goes like this, like a snowball. Then he puts his whole hand in his mouth and scrapes it off. I was like, no, that's not a Toronto Somali.
He's a real one.
He's a real
African.
And then he drinks something, he just throws it on the ground. But yeah, just getting used to things. And I remember just, getting angry at some students. This one Bengali student, he just, imagine you're in the haram and he's like memorizing hadith and he's like, Qala sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he like throws his garbage on the ground. I'm like, you're saying a hadith and you're throwing this stuff, but in their cultures, like in the different places, it's normal. And you see a lot of, funny stuff. And, sometimes you go take a shower, there's no hot water. So you're just like cold plunging. I was cold plunging before all these, health influencers.
Before it was popular.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then sometimes because of the summer, the water tanks are on the roof. There's only hot water.
Right.
So now I'm hot plunging. Yeah. So
boiling water.
Yeah, I used to go in like 3 seconds, go like this and come out.
SubhanAllah.
And then, other students, like we have like, it's a communal bathroom. There's like 8 sinks. One of my, the people in the building, they just come, empty their whole thing of rice into the sink. So it's just like, there's a lot of patience you need and, stuff like that.
Did you ever connect with the other Canadians, Westerners, North American? You guys have your own little clique?
We had a group, we would meet once a month. It was called Canadina.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we met and stuff like that. But people sometimes there get too distracted with, friends and all that stuff. So I more so kept to myself, went to my classes. And, yeah.
I mean, I've heard that, you technically you get what you put in, right? Like
Yeah.
you're saying you can do a lot of studying outside of the classes. If you're in the haram, if you're really motivated, you can benefit a lot.
Yeah, or some just go there and they do the bare minimum, and they don't go to the haram. I remember one brother, he told me, he's like, I can't go to the haram. I'm like, why? He's like, there's way too much fitna. I was like, what?
Oh, wow. All right.
So I guess he was so isolated because there's only brothers on the campus.
Right.
Yeah. So eventually you get into this mode of,
Wow. Even in the haram, subhanallah.
yeah, even the haram, because I guess you only see
Right,
men.
right. Wow, interesting. Well, I mean, for the fact that you were there for so many years, what do you think was the most memorable moment? Was there anything that you really, you dream about or you think about? Because I mean, being in the haram, getting to see Masjid Nabawi, this is something we do maybe once a few years if we're
Yeah.
lucky, right? Well, what do you remember most or miss most about being in that space?
Sometimes randomly you'd be on a bus and some of the students who were very knowledgeable, they'd say, you see that building right there? There was revelation there. Or you'd see like on this mountain, like everywhere you go, there's a story. So you're in like a storybook kind of thing. And subhanAllah, you just always feel like you're in the middle of things, and you get to go to the Rawda often. You get to go to certain areas that other people don't know about, especially being a local.
Yeah.
And then, you're going to the library in Masjid Nabawi, which a lot of people don't know about.
I didn't even know there was a library.
Yeah, there's a really nice library.
Wow.
So just seeing the other side of it, and yes, there's some people who would test your patience, but you just see a lot of beautiful people there. And I would say, like, if you're not religious, like, it's the worst city. What are you doing there? Some people would just be kind of distracted with other stuff. But yeah, you're in another world, and you feel like, is this real? The scholars that I only heard about online, he's right there. And there's thousands of students around. I got to tour the ghusl facility.
Okay.
Of every prayer there's a
How
janazah.
many janazahs do you pray?
And there's
SubhanAllah.
only like 2-3 rooms where they wash people in.
Wow.
But they showed us all those things, so it's just nice to see the other side.
Wow. Did you ever do any Hajj or Umrah groups? Did you ever lead any groups while you were there?
Yeah, I helped lead some Umrah groups. And I also did, alhamdulillah, my last year, I did Hajj as a local. Because I said I would never be able to save up enough.
Yeah.
So Hajj as a local, I did it, I think, for like $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was as a local, so they really take care of you. So it was amazing.
Amazing. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So now you've finished your studies.
Yeah.
You've had a chance to absorb that beautiful environment. Now, what was it like coming back into Canada? What did you get into?
Yeah, coming back, you're thinking, okay, what do I do now? So honestly, just started driving Uber and Lyft, and just trying to make some money to back up my mom's house. And then just trying to find the next opportunity. So I was always into business. So before I went, I used to do e-commerce, and I tried a bunch of different businesses, but it was too difficult to run there. So yeah, when I came back, I did that. I started an Arabic institute. I was teaching different students, and then kind of got back into the tech space where I was creating like curriculums and different softwares. So you feel kind of lost. You come back, you don't know what to do. And after spending a lot of time with Sheikh Hussam, I realized I don't want to be the Imam of a masjid full time because you're just a punching bag. And it's like, it's a license to just abuse you.
SubhanAllah.
It's like, would you like to take on 4 jobs with half the pay, with no appreciation?
Wow.
Then,
You get those calls at 3 a.m.
Sign
Sheikh,
me
we
up.
need your help.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my son has a jinn.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he probably just sugar overdose or something.
Astaghfirullah.
Or he failed the test. He has a jinn. I was like, maybe he didn't study.
Yeah. SubhanAllah. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that because a lot of students, and I've spoken to, mashallah, we have, even in Canada, so many people that have graduated that have come back and chosen not to become imams.
A majority of them, yeah.
Yeah, which is, from the outside, it seems quite odd because they're the most qualified to do so. Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, you spend like 6 to 10 years of your life studying, you come back and then you become an accountant or engineer. And I don't blame them in a sense because they're getting into a horrible job. Some imams have their full-time job, but they only have like 5-10 hours a week to spend in the dawah space. So, we have to create another solution. And I realize like imams are not really taken care of that well. We really underpay them, and we expect them to work 80 hours a week, and give the halaqat and the prayers. And he just graduated. Like, as a graduate, we've never given a khutbah before. Unless you've come back here and
In the
given
summers
one.
and stuff, yeah.
There's no opportunity there to give a lecture
Yeah, I can
or
imagine.
khutbah.
They
So,
don't need your help.
yeah. So you're a trained student of knowledge, but
Right.
you're not a trained imam. So the first thing you need to do if you come back is actually be an imam at a masjid where they already have a senior imam. Because just giving you the reins it doesn't work.
Right.
And then you have to be a counselor, and some lady comes to you saying, you know, my husband divorced me, and you're thinking, "Man, I'm not a counselor."
Yeah. I mean, well, definitely I could see. Is it something that they're undertrained from a social perspective, like in terms of that specific role? Because you do end up becoming like a social worker
Yeah.
slash, imam slash, divorce counselor and all these things. Do you find as if the training that you're receiving from that part of the world just doesn't translate in terms of the practical implications here?
I think most imams end up kind of like training on the job. And unfortunately, I think there's some collateral damage with some people. Like, you
Yeah.
give a bad advice here, and you eventually kind of learn things. Um, in the best case scenario, you're at a masjid with a senior imam, and they also encourage you to take different programs here or certifications. But I think a lot of people just don't want to be imams, and I don't blame them. They're really underpaid, and a lot of them that I know, they're just having to drive like Uber on the side, and they don't make enough. And a lot of them just end up, as you know, locally, leaving the country and just going to another place. So, what's the solution to it? I know a lot of people don't like this. I I don't see a problem with the imam making more money. There's an imam in the U.S., Sheikh Nu'man, and he had a GTR, a Nissan GTR. So it's a nice car. Every time he would park at a masjid, they would give him a ticket because they said there's no way an imam could have a.
SubhanAllah.
And I remember Sheikh Hussam as well when he first went to Hamilton. He had an old Toyota. It was like a really old one, and you know, it was one of those where like you turn left to go straight.
Yeah.
And so the board there, they're like, Sheikh, we think you should buy a new car, and they're like, but not something like a Mercedes because that's for us type of
That's
people.
for us,
Yeah.
the donors, not for you.
Yeah, they're like maybe like a Camry. So even then, people don't like to see the imam kind of prosper, have a
Right.
nice house. The imams who have done it well either have a business on the side, and then the board feels like they don't have the strings on your head. But without another source of income, every imam I've spoken to is kind of either struggling or looking for a way out.
Do you see a difference in the context between somewhere like Canada and the US, for example, where, mashallah, a lot of our even Canadian imams are now moving to the US because there's a lot better pay. Sometimes smaller communities, but big centers, big masajid that can afford to pay someone a bit better. Do you see that like mass migration of people also going where there are more opportunities?
So I think it's pretty known that in the States, you can get a position that's like 120,000 USD that pays well with amenities, and the community is very easy. There's not many people who are coming. Like, some of our masajid are packed. Some of those places are just like, you know, small community. I've seen a lot of imams leave, but even within the GTA, like, you might have a decent position in Mississauga, but you go to Scarborough, and because there are some like madrasas that graduate hundreds of students a year, they're willing to take like 1,000, 1,500 a month and just live with their parents. So even, you know, different places in the GTA, some are okay with paying you, some are not. And I've even seen with a couple of imams that get accused of stealing from the masjid, and they say, "Why? This happened recently." They said, "Oh, he charged for a service outside the masjid. You know, either charging for a wedding or charging for his time for like a lecture." And they said, "You have to donate that all to the masjid, and then, you know, you're stealing from the community." So people don't like to see the imam do too well.
Yeah.
People like I would say 95% of people are amazing to the imam, respectful, kind, but that 5% or that 10, 20 people, how do we stop them from abusing the imam, you know? What are we doing to kind of control them? Because I feel like, you know, do we ban them? Like, is there just free reign? Can we abuse the imam? So These are big issues, and then we're going to see that there's going to be no imams to actually take over the positions of the current ones, or less qualified people.
Yeah. Well, that's the big fear, right? Is that we are now hiring people that may either be, not from this community, not from this country. They don't understand the context. The people that I've spoken to, like yourself, who are, raised here, who have gone to study and come back, they see the value of what they can offer, and they don't feel like it's being respected in this community. Is there something the communities can do better? I mean, outside of maybe it's a mentality shift, like the idea that an imam should not be paid a living wage is kind of outrageous if you think
Yeah.
about it. Like, how else are you expecting him to do his job, right?
They say, fi sabilillah doesn't have to be free sabilillah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Free sabilillah.
Just because you're getting paid, it doesn't mean there's no ajr there.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people, think of it in a business sense. Like, forget about the, everything else. I say, if I put $1 into my business and you get 3 out, it's a great investment. So I remember when Sheikh Hussam went to Hamilton, they're like, donations tripled. So I said, there you go. You put money in and you get money out. You pay peanuts. Don't be surprised when you get a monkey,
Yeah, subhanAllah.
So even with the imam, don't even think of it as this is the imam's pay. Think of this as an investment. If he has to go get a second job, he's not focused on the community. Pay him well. Pay for his gas. Pay for his cell phone. Even some home accommodations. It's not going to hurt. And you realize that he's just a lot less stressed. The more stressed he is, the less he does for the community. And there has to be rules. Like any masjid that has a volunteer-only board, I also don't think that works. I think you need an employee that you can fire.
Yeah.
Because if you're just volunteer, like I approach Masjid for different programs, it's like 4 to 6 months to get anything done.
Yeah.
Because I'm a volunteer. Why do that? I'm already voted in. I'm already in the board for 2 years. But if there's a guy who's an employee, you can fire him. So like we need to think of it more as a business.
Also accountability.
Yeah, accountability as well. And if the imam's not doing his job, okay, no problem. But there's too many people, too many situations where the board takes control and fires and hires the imam. The community has no say about it.
Yeah.
And then people are just fired out of nowhere. So right now, the Canadian Council of Imams are also speaking about job security. And they're, some people are talking about an imams union.
Ooh,
yeah.
Here we go.
So it's very hard because the imams, like we had a recent imam get fired here in Toronto, 25 years, Sheikh Imran. And subhanAllah, without knowing any details, you're there 25 years and no one knows in the community why, you're just fired.
Yeah.
So it's,
And it's also frustrating because it's behind this like veil of secrecy and we don't ever know. And the board, a lot of times, you feel like Masajid boards are like the Illuminati. Like you don't even know who's behind it. You don't even know who's in charge, who's making the decisions. And I think you're right in the sense that there is a fundamental problem when our religious institutions are run by people that are just volunteering their time.
And doing the bare minimum.
Yes.
And, there are some people who go above and beyond. But I think those are the few.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it's only to be expected. Like they have their own lives, they have their own jobs, their own careers. A lot of times I've also found that, we have this habit of picking the most successful people on paper to lead our communities,
engineer.
right? The doctor, the engineer, whoever donated the most last Ramadan, mashallah, you secured your spot, brother, mashallah.
And they interview the imam even though they don't know.
Yes. Yeah. And then I find that a lot of times, they are expecting certain things from the imam that they also don't implement in their own lives. Or like you're talking about, being having this level of zuhud, and you want them to be humble and but you're not like that.
I'll give you an example. Like there was recently an imam hired, and they said, I think instead of 2 days off, you should just give the imam 1 day off. And on his day off, he has to pray anyways. Why doesn't he just come lead?
Allah.
So like they get mad at you if you're somewhere else. Oh, he was at another masjid for Isha. Who cares? That's his own time. But to work from Fajr to Isha, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
So the community has different expectations. There's some uncles, as long as you lead the prayer, they're happy. And some want you to lead programs, and some want you to do counseling. So to make everyone happy, I like the model where, at ISNA, they have like, who knows how many, 20 employees.
5, yeah, well, how many imams do they have as well? Mashallah.
I think they have like 10 people on the marketing team.
Allahu Akbar.
So yeah, imams, they have so many. You can't run a 40,000 person community with one imam.
And a board of volunteers.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
No.
It's just like serving a chicken shop with like one guy on the fryer.
Yeah. And I mean, I wonder, if our community here locally will also adopt some of the things I've seen in the US, for example, having a youth director,
Yeah.
right? Like that is a position
Yeah.
that a lot of times we don't even think about.
And there's government funding for a lot of these things
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, also having those particular niches, right? Like someone to focus on youth, someone to focus on the sisters.
But we just throw on the Imam. So
I know, I know. He becomes he becomes the Imam, the Raqi,
yeah.
the counselor.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you find as if the board, and we don't have to talk too much about, we're not we'll just bash boards all day, but like, do you find as if the structure of our masajid fundamentally is flawed? And if there is so, like, what would you do to change it?
I would put paid people in that if they're not performing, then they could be fired easily. Just because the reporting structure, if there's 12 board members, that's 12 bosses for the Imam. Some Imams who have gotten hired, they said, I only have one person on the board who can speak to me about my duties, because this guy's telling me this, this accountant is telling me what to speak about, and this madhab opinion. So it becomes too difficult. You have to have one point of contact, and we need to treat it as an institution that if you don't perform, then you're out. But also, I think firing an Imam, the community should be involved. Who's brought in? Why are we letting him go? If he made a mistake, he's human. Do we give him more training? Do we treat him like an angel? Like if there's any mistake, then he's gone. Even anyone who's had a job, they've all made mistakes and cost the company money.
But I also feel like it's a little bit of like, I don't know, it feels like a little bit of shame, aib, like the fact that the Imam has to get the community or all these random people to justify their salary or their work ethic, right? It's like, this brother has studied, he's performed at the highest levels in terms of learning his Islam more than all of us, and now we're all the judge and executioner of this person. It kind of just doesn't feel fair.
Yeah, I don't think the system, in some places I think it works when the brothers are really sincere, but I've seen a lot of board members say, like, this Imam, we have to break him down one brick at a time, and we gotta, because they want to bring their groups in, they want to play these politics. So it's just like, why do rich people go into politics? They have the wealth. Same thing with our communities. I'm not saying this is for everyone, but some people want that power of being able to, control certain things. So I think that need for power is really present with some people.
So now you have created somewhat of a solution to this problem. I know we spent a lot of time talking about the problem, but what is the solution? Because I think, we could attack it from many different angles, but ultimately we need to treat our Imams better. We need to prevent the abuse that we see happening, from multiple angles. What have you kind of been working on in the background?
Yeah, so obviously this is not the end-all be-all solution for everything, but we launched Meezan App. So as you mentioned before, it's a website right now. It's a web app. So Meezan App, that we have about 12 Imams right now. You're able to book an Imam for a counseling, a wedding, lectures, and a bunch of other services. But it's just an easy way to connect with the Imam. A lot of people are scared to connect to the Masjid or the Imam. Many people find me on Google, and how far do you have to be? I don't want to say anything negative about these people, but they don't have a clear relationship with an Imam.
Right.
So if you have to Google, like,
sheikh.com.
yeah,
Where do I go? Yeah,
exactly. So I want to make it easy for everyday Muslim to access Imams. So we have a Q&A feature we're launching soon. Thousands of question and answers that people can go on, get answers for free, and then also book an Imam, for counseling or Quran classes or anything else. And on the Imam side, just give them a little more freedom, where they can actually make some money to actually live, where they don't have to leave the country or get a second job, and they can actually stay in their field. Because what a shame is it that they can't even utilize their own skills in the community, and people don't really want to pay them. And again, if I'm doing something, like an Imam told me, if you take me away from my family and I'm spending time with you, then compensate me. As long as we're being fair.
Right.
So Meezan App, again, the focus, try to get as many people connected to trusted scholarship. And then inshallah next year we're going to do some registered counseling as well. So now we have Imam counseling.
Nice.
But yeah, hopefully, that'll help a lot of the Imams.
And where did the name come from? Where like Meezan, obviously it means the kind of like scale.
Yeah, we're trying to rebalance, I don't want to say we're not Batman and Robin, evil and good,
Yeah.
or Robin Hood. We're trying to
Yeah.
take
Take from the poor and give
yeah,
to the.
but just kind of rebalance things, because anytime I see a solution in the community that's a tech based, it's like, oh, we have a new software for the masjid, or we have a software for people, but no one cares about the imam. So I said a masjid because, as I told you before, 2 years when I was at the masjid, no imam. 6 months with imam, 2 more years without. Those periods without an imam, it was dead. So I said, if they are the life of the community, why not invest in them?
Especially in a place like Hamilton, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
Without an imam there, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Janaza town.
SubhanAllah. Imams talk, and everyone knows the situation, and they have not had an imam stay for too long.
Yeah.
Now, people could say, oh, they found a better opportunity, or you could make their life so difficult that they'll never want to come back. So, fortunately, communities like that, they can't find an imam. Even if you pay 100,000, like, you're either going to get an imam who's not experienced or someone underqualified.
It doesn't speak English.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't speak English. So, yeah, it gets to the point where who suffers? It's the community.
Yeah, wallah. And I'm a big believer in that. I feel like the amount that we invest in the chandeliers or the wudu facilities, like if you invest that in human capital,
Yeah.
right? Because people make changes. It's not furniture or walls or chandeliers. It's the people inside of it. So if you invest in the best imam, right? You pay him the best amount. I also find it sometimes frustrating that, like, communities will want like the celebrity imam, or they want somebody who's quite popular because they know he's going to, but then they don't want him to travel.
Yeah.
And they don't want him to go out, and they benefit from his notoriety, but they don't want to support his, growth in that capacity.
What masjid was it? Sheikh
Don't say their name. I don't know which masjid you're going to say, but
no,
keep it generic. Okay.
It's a good thing.
Okay,
it's a good thing.
Oh, if it's a good thing, then say that 100%.
Sheikh Sayyid Raja. The masjid, it was in like a warehouse.
Sakina Center.
Sakina.
Yes.
I went there, I remember, 10 years ago, and I saw like a PlayStation room and a game room. And
I built that room, right?
Amazing.
Yeah. I was a part of that community.
No, and it was amazing because I saw like there's a place to eat. There's all these facilities. And I remember like I'm in Hamilton and like $350,000 dome or whatever it is, $150,000 minaret. One day I looked in the back of the masjid, I was going to go pray, and there was like this cheap $150 basketball net. And there was like a kid shooting, and I'm like, hey, let's go pray. He's like, I'm not Muslim. So I was just thinking, because he came with his Muslim friend.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if $150 net brought a non-Muslim kid, imagine having a proper facility where kids will want to spend time there. I remember being in the musalla, just not feeling welcomed by some of the older guys. And I remember one time I brought all my friends, and the first row, it was like me and like 50 other guys. They did not like that.
SubhanAllah.
So it's this kind of a competition to like, we want you here, but not really too much.
Well, we want you here under our terms.
Yeah.
Right? We want you here, and we want you to look like us or sound like us or do the things that we do.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunate. And I do think, ultimately the community does suffer because of that. You mentioned Sakina Center. Don't talk about the history of it. A lot of things didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, of course.
But ultimately, one thing that I really saw and I benefited from even being in that situation was that, before we had the big space, we actually had a quite small space. And in that space, we had, probably like 20 programs running simultaneously.
Yeah.
Right. And I learned very early on that it's not actually about the facility. Right. You can bring people to an abandoned shed. If you got a lot of things going on and you have programs that people are interested, then it'll be popping. Like, and I also noticed that women are the heartbeat of the community. If you can have the mothers there and the sisters feel welcome, they'll bring their kids. The husbands have no choice but to follow.
Exactly.
Right. So there's a lot of things you learn even from the community building side. But going back to now Meezan, part of your mission is to help support imams. Do you see this taking the place of, jobs, or, do people need to still be employed by the masjid? Is it something where maybe people have a financial model where maybe they're taking care of and they're volunteering their time?
My goal, I don't want to take any imam away from the masjid. So Meezan, I also want to have as many free services there as possible. So if an imam says I have to provide 10 hours of counseling as a part of my duties, but I want to put it on Meezan just so it's, it's organized and everything. I also want to give imams a certain amount of dignity. Like, how do you contact your doctor? Do you DM them?
No, I call the doctor's office and then I set an
But
appointment.
who answers?
There's a receptionist.
Receptionist. You've
Right.
never called the doctor
I never spoke
himself.
to him directly. No.
Yeah, you've never been to his house and be like,
No.
hey, yeah.
No.
So same thing with the imam. I want to have a
Yeah.
little bit of a barrier
Yeah.
where you have to go through a platform,
Mm.
and there needs to be like we have you can request an imam. So in under 30 seconds, you can
Mhm.
request an imam for a service,
Mm.
and there's at least that barrier. So you can message them, and we want to. For some imams, they want to stay freelance. They
Mhm.
don't want to be at a masjid. We want to support that.
Mm.
Some imams want to make more money outside. We want to support that. Some people just want to put their free services on, but now we know where to go. Again, I want to support that as well. So I'm not trying to, we'll pull everyone away from the masajid, but just make it accessible.
Is there a reason why you think, we talked about why a lot of students, even recent graduates, don't necessarily go into that field. Is there a reason where you think maybe the tech side of things? So you're a tech guy, and I've asked other people in this in the past, but like things like AI, the developments we've seen in artificial intelligence, do you see that impacting the services imams can offer? Because now a lot of people, as opposed to even talking to someone, are just Google was the answer back in the day, but now
Yeah.
ChatGPT is he's not a sheikh, but he's a legitimate
Of course.
resource guide, right? Like you can get certain answers out of AI and internet. Where do you see the infusion of tech happening in terms of the dawah space in the future?
Yeah, so I think there's a role for making the imams' lives easier. I don't think we're in a situation where we have like hologram Mufti Menk or whoever, and I know there's a lot of the apps. The problem is a lot of the apps are also built by non-scholars.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if I have a chatbot that runs off of the Quran and the Hadith, you think, oh, perfect. No, not perfect, because the AI doesn't know the interpretation.
So,
Like Bukhari, Bukhari is about. I have one that's about 9 volumes, but I also have Fath al-Bari, which is the explanation. I have like 32 books. So if it's trained on the works of the classical scholars, which actually shows the explanation, great. But I've only seen maybe one app that actually does that. The rest, they just say off the Quran and the Hadith. So you'll ask it a question, it looks legitimate, and then a guy just ends up divorcing his wife because
subhanallah.
like
ChatGPT told him to.
yeah, or how can I get back to my wife after I divorced her? Then you have to do this and this. So, or it'll give you an answer from another sect or another opinion that's not even strong.
I heard one masjid put out a newsletter or something, and in it there was a fake surah.
Yeah.
Like a fake surah doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
115.
Surah 132. You're like, what is going on here, right?
Yeah. And it looks real. Like what I've done in the past as well, if I have a lecture and I just scribble my notes on on the Microsoft Word, I'll put it to ChatGPT and I'll say, give me titles and bullet points. And then I'll get it back and I realize it just took away a lot of my answers, put other ones in there. So now, you have to know how to use AI. I basically threatened. I said, you better not take out anything. And then after it gives me back the answer, I say, now do an audit. Did you take anything out? Even after that, I look, it still deletes certain things. Still lying to you. So yeah, it's still lying. So you have to be careful. We think we know how to do it. But I don't think the imam is going to get replaced. I think their job is going to become easier. And fiqh is a very dangerous thing when we get into, because like a fatwa is not just, like it's based on your situation.
It's very personal.
Yeah. So if I just go on, let's say Islam QA, and someone else got a fatwa for something, but my situation is completely different.
Right.
So now we got the fatwa, we got the wrong opinion. Like there's the example of the guy, he said, I believe this is at the time of the Sahaba, where he said, I divorced my wife hatta heen, until a certain time. And then he went to one of the Sahaba and he said, what's heen? Heen in the Quran, he said, according to this opinion, it's like a year. The next Sahabi said, according to this opinion, it's like a month. According to this opinion, it's about a day. And he said, what should I take? And he said, I take the easier one. So if you look in what is heen in the Quran, you're gonna not see your wife for the next year, So we have to be careful.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
But we can use it to make their lives easier.
Well, I mean, you're obviously a big proponent of using tech and dawah.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a future partnership that the community should be more invested in? Like, what else can we do to be future-proof? Because I'm worried that a lot of times, new technology, the Muslims are automatically like, no, this is how, it's worrisome. We shouldn't get near it. But there's a lot of benefit, too, that can be derived from it.
Yeah, even like when they first put the Quran on the iPhone and iPad, there were discussions of like, do I have to have wudu? Is it haram to even use it there?
Subhanallah.
If I lock my phone and I go into the bathroom, can I even use it?
Yeah.
So all these new issues. So we do need to be future proof, and a lot of masajid now they have like social media channels, and they're trying to stay up to date. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, we need to have ways people can access what they need without a lot of obstacles. Because there's one imam, I need the imam's time. There's also 500 other people who need his time. So how do we kind of see which imams are more free, which imams have certain skills? Like if I go ask a zakah question, I should ask an Islamic finance expert if it's a specific question. Or if you're asking like, home mortgages, don't just ask your local imam. Go to someone who's specialized in this. So now through these platforms, we can find out who is an expert in this field, and that's the one we should talk to.
That's a very important point, because a lot of people don't even realize that you might have specialities, or they, you might be focused on one thing and not the other. They might ask a historian like a fiqh question, and it just he may not be as well rounded in that particular topic. What can people do to find out more about your project, about Meezan? How can they access the service? Like, walk us through, how does somebody actually use the product?
Yeah, it's very simple. So it's meezanapp.com, MEEZAN app.com. And it's very simple. You find a service. So you can find, let's say, counseling. You select the imam. You can see their bio. So you actually know, because it's kind of awkward in person. Where did you study? It sounds condescending. But you actually see their bio, what languages they have, what services they offer, whether it's free or paid. You select the service, the date, the time, enter in your card details if it's paid, and the request is sent to the imam. So under 30 seconds, you have that access already. So we started that just to make it easy. And then, even other things like I was mentioning to you before, even things like zakah. Like people don't know how to pay their zakah, and then they go on these.
Well, they think they know how to pay their zakah.
Everyone thinks they do. Like zakah is not just 2.5%. Like there's a different rate. Even some of the madhahib say for honey, there's a different percentage. For farmland, if you are the one doing the work, it's 1%. If your land just happens to have rain and self-sustaining and it grows by itself, then the rate's actually higher. So zakah is very detailed. And a lot of the charities we go to, like every charity has zakah calculator, and they have all the asset fields. So you're supposed to, so Islamically, the 2.5% can actually, like there was a point in Islamic history where there was no one who was poor and no one who needed sadaqah, because this 2.5% covered all those needs. How is that possible? Right now in Canada, we have, 25, 30% tax rates, and that doesn't cover
Are
it.
we still broke?
Yeah, because it's on your income. Zakah doesn't care about your income. I can make $1 million this year, doesn't care at all. It's what you have left over. So now you see like the millionaires and billionaires, what they leave, that's going to be 2.5% of that. So, alhamdulillah, we have zakah.com, ZAKAH.com.
The real zakah.
The real zakah. Yeah, I know with the T. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Firing shots. Alhamdulillah. I love you guys as well.
No. So how does that work, zakah?
So depending on when you watch this video, there's like as of now there's a waiting list. Q1 2026 it'll be released, but it's the easiest way to give zakah. So as I said, you have your assets. So you put your cash, your gold, your if there's any real estate for sale, investments, and it's a different rate. Like Islam actually encourages, if I have, let's say, stocks that are bought and sold on the short term, 100% of that, there's 2.5% of it. But if it's a long-term one, then there's different opinions, but right now we're taking the 30% rule. So I have 100,000 in my 401k or my registered retirement plan. It's only 30% of it that's zakatable. But if I can't access the account unless there's penalties, with the penalty, then there's no zakah on it. It's free from zakah. So there's a lot of things that the charities won't add in. But where the charities, again, I know the end user, like the person who receives the zakah or sadaqah, they benefit. But we should not encourage people to overpay zakah. because that's money they should be using, towards their own families. So where the zakat calculators fall short is the liabilities. So everyone just has like a million assets. Like, yeah, tell us what you have so you can give us more. But the liabilities show, what debts you have, what loans, are you leasing a car, short term, long term. And we also have one for businesses as well. So people don't even know your business has zakat owed on it. Most people don't pay zakat on their business.
Wow.
So we have an ability. You can add in your personal situation and then multiple businesses. You can even say I own 50% of this business, calculate my share. And it's very easy. You and I will figure out a calculator. But I'm not worried about you and I. It's about, our mothers, our nephews, older people, or even just the average person who's not very tech savvy. So we have like a text description to make it very easy. Then every field has a video from an Imam, clearly explaining it. Then we also have an AI bot, which we train, not ChatGPT, which we trained on certain books and certain standards, like AOFI standards, that you can ask any question. And the answers that come out of it will only be through the text we gave it. And then if that's too difficult, you can actually hire an Imam one-on-one for zakat consultation.
Right.
So if you don't know how to do the calculation after this, then you're just a lost cause.
There's nothing we can do to help you.
There's nothing you can do.
You're on your own. Yeah.
Then the formula at the end shows you exactly how much you owe. And then you can, give the zakat through the platform, or you can give it on your own.
Right, mashallah. And the website again for people to check out?
zakah.com.
And then the Meezan site?
Yeah, meezanapp.com.
Well, we'll put it on the screen anyways. Everyone
inshallah.
can check it out. It'll be in the description. This is an amazing project. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put tawfiq in it for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow it to be a means of helping, many people around the world. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to put barakah in all the great work that you're doing, mashallah. Where can people find more about you? Are you on socials? Where can people track you down?
I feel like it's a spelling bee, but yeah. But yeah, my socials are ZAN and then Ahmad, AHMAD on Instagram. You could find me there. Just don't DM us anything creepy.
They can book you for a consultation.
Yeah, exactly. I was just joking with him. We have like certain trolls who, I don't know. I won't get into it.
Don't even give them any breath. Are you on the site too? Can we also book you?
Yeah, I'm also on there.
Nice. For a tech consultation?
No, for lectures, for weddings.
Nice.
That's another.
Is there anything you guys won't do? If somebody calls you in the middle of the night and says, "Hey, I have a whole family of jinn living upstairs," will you? Do you have Rockies on speed dial as well?
As of now, no. But every Imam, so we made it in a way where they actually put their hours of operation. So you can't book them outside of certain hours.
So they don't work at 4 a.m.
If they put it.
Wow.
You can put that.
I guess there's always 4 a.m. somewhere around the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can put your hours of operation, and you can also put what services you provide. So if we have people who only give khutbah services, and that's all. And other people, they give all the services. So if the Imam doesn't provide it, then, we're not going to just force them to do everything.
And are you onboarding additional Imams? Are more people joining the platform?
So one thing we've done different is we started with 12, and I'm not bringing any more on board until we add more services, which is going to be in the next month. But some of the other platforms, they brought on like 100 Imams.
Right.
And now each Imam gets like one booking every 6 months, so it's not much there. And there's also other platforms, which I won't name drop, but they get too broad. So it's like you want to learn marketing, you want to learn Six Sigma or yoga, and like everything is offered. And now people who are not even Imams can offer certain things. Wow. So I want to make sure it's fixed to Islamic services. So our goal for the next month is bring on a couple sisters.
Nice.
Either for the counseling or for the lecture side. So again, just accessibility, what people need. So we recently saw like people need access to advice for, Islamic finance. Like I'm invested in these stocks, what's halal, what's not, for Quran classes, someone to lead Taraweeh. So any service that's really needed in the community, then, we want to put on there. But obviously, like, we haven't considered the jinn stuff.
No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is a thing, though. People, it is what it is. But I'm saying, like, there are a lot of services that might be considered unusual.
Of course.
I think even the idea of, nikah and all these things is fine. But some people, like, for example, they'll ask you to come visit a dying relative in a hospital.
So we have that. Really? Chaplaincy
services, right?
Yeah,
right.
so that's coming on in the next month, inshallah. Yeah, basically, even things like for the MSA, mental health support that's coming, revert support, and those are free services.
Right.
So really, anything that the community needs, and there's a big need for, then we want to facilitate that. And again, not everyone has access to the people they need.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, Akhi, mashallah, may Allah bless you, put
Amen.
barakah in it for you, tawfiq for all your great work, inshallah. Check out his sites, check out Zakat, check out Meezan App, and make sure, inshallah, you find out more about how you can get connected and get support for anything you're going through. Jazakallah khair for joining us and for being a part of this episode.
Thanks for
And
having me.
barakallah feekum for all of you who stay tuned towards the end. Make sure you follow Muslimi for more amazing content coming down your way. Follow us on all platforms. I'm your host, Brother Boonaa Mohammed, signing off. Inshallah, we'll see you again next time. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.